Hello, my dear friends. So I'm here at the Düsseldorf Rundgang, the first one in 2025, and I'm here to find out what young artists think about artificial intelligence. Do they use it as a tool? Do they use it as a co-thinker? Do they use it as a source of inspiration? So what can we find out? Let's see. So, and in the very first room of the very first floor, and just the very first artwork I saw was made with the help of artificial intelligence tools. So you can see that there are portraits of artists, and some of them are historical, but some of them were generated with AI tools. Please introduce yourself and tell from which professor you graduated.
So I studied with Rita McBride for 6 years. So this year's Rundgang, I want just make a graduation because here is also her last Rundgang, and in this summer she will out. Yep.
You
So
work with artificial intelligence in your practice.
I just try to reborn the old artists in the 18th century or 17th century. You know? It's very unfortunately in that time we have not a camera technique. So I just want to make something realistic with the portrait face. So we know every idol has a unique name and a face. If you have a face, I can look in your eye, and you have a name with your language, then maybe you could be an idol if you're doing something well, yeah? Like painting, sculpture, and architecture. So I just want to try to make it as well as realistic.
But how did you educate yourself, or you used someone's help to work with this technique?
No, I don't use anyone to help me. I just use the AI technique, and I just need to tell AI what the information I know about this artist. Just like Caravaggio. Caravaggio, I know he did kill someone in a fight. So I just give her support to take that about a young man. It's always have a full energy and fight with someone. So Caravaggio should look like an angry young man. And just like somewhere here, like James Ensor. James Ensor was a mask painter. The painting really like with every mask and the figure with mask. So I just taught AI, pick a young man with the mask and look at the camera. So every single artist, there is some information I know about him. Maybe just one painting, maybe just one piece of his whole life work, but I still think here is a big influence to me. So I think there is the important process how artist build himself in the whole life. You need keeping starting for the future, and imagine starting for the past and imagine to the future.
ask you a question about your art?
Yeah.
But like mostly, I'm interested in what do you think about artificial intelligence? Do you use it in your practice? Do you somehow see it as a tool, as a collaborator, or maybe as a threat? Like, what do you think about artificial intelligence?
Never as a threat, it's just another medium. Yeah. I don't think it's that relevant in like terms of if it's useful or not. It's like how you use it.
How do you use it?
For fun, to see things I want to imagine by a database, basically. Yeah.
Hey, and do you discuss it with other students, maybe with professors?
No, not with professors. I don't think it's like that big of a deal in the house to discuss it, but with friends, like just as another thing popping up, but it's not this revolutionary thing. I think it's more in political terms that it may influence art. It makes art maybe more important because it's so influential in like radicalizing people.
Like everyone talks about it, everyone thinks something, everyone like tries to benefit from it, everyone tries to make their lives easier with it. But like I'm trying to understand how does it affect art?
Yeah.
What will be with art in the next decade?
I think it will affect if people do great art with it, but it's not like this thing overrolling or like a concurrence or something. It's just like a brush, you know.
Thank you very much. Words about your relationship with artificial intelligence. Do you use it?
No, I personally haven't used it yet, but I'm quite interested in the benefits of it. I think the primary question is how can I use it as a tool without it letting it take over my creativity process? When will it work for itself, or how much can I control it to a point that it's still my working process as a step-by-step thing? I don't know if I said it correctly. Yeah.
Well, what's important also for me to know, do you discuss it with other students? Do you discuss it with your professors? Like, does it somehow grows inside your mind?
I think we are talking about it. We are talking about the latest movements and how other artists are using it. Yes, we do discuss it, but in my class with my professor, it's a really analog class, and we do like very traditional sculpturing, I think. So it hasn't been in my nearest practice. Yeah.
Okay, I met some merry and scary clowns here on the second floor and asked them if they want to talk to me about the artificial intelligence in their practice, but they told me that they will show me the only artwork they know, as far as I understood, that's made completely like based around AI questions. So, and they brought me here, these funny clowns. They told me that I definitely should see this and to understand what it is about. As far as I understood, this work tries to depict the Prophet, the Muhammad, with the help of artificial intelligence, and this was the main purpose. So we can see the description, like the prompt that was given. Yeah, and all the specs that should be given, and the result.
My name is Konrad Weichs, I'm 25 years old and I'm a painter.
What do you think about artificial intelligence and how does it affect art? Do you use it?
I personally don't use artificial intelligence. I use it as a sort of contrapoint to what I think painting would be. So I appreciate whatever images are created by AI, but I rather try to figure out where's the difference in between an artificial intelligence and a human one. So I try to have a contrapoint to what a machine can create.
And what do you think about other artists who use it? Like, what is it? Maybe also, what is interesting, do you think it can be like a tool, a collaborator, or maybe a threat?
I think it's not a threat. I think it's a wonderful tool for more and more people to open up towards being creative, to find new solutions of new ways of art making, of picture making. I wish it to be used precisely, and I wish it to be fed well. So the ideas are basically in collaboration of the human and the machine. If it only becomes what the machine does, it becomes very reproductive. I see many similar attempts towards pictures by AI. So if the person, whoever uses it, is good at using it and creates something special by it, I do like it very much.
And then the last question about AI, do you discuss it with other students, maybe with your professors, like if it's somehow implemented in the program of Düsseldorf Academy?
It is implemented. I think it could be more. I think there should be more approaches. I think there's hell more to experience, more to find. I think it is not as far as it could possibly be, and I wish it to be better. We do discuss a lot about it. There's every day, there's communication about it, not just with artists, also with everyone in the world is basically talking about it. So obviously there's something going on, and I like where this is going, and I think there's great future to be experienced with AI.
And can you show your artworks and tell a couple of words about them? Like, what do you do? What do you find the best tools for your art practice?
So my picture's there. And, well, as I said, I try to have it as human as possible. I want it to be distant from AI. I feel like I can, by hand, by the use of the color, by my knowledge about art and my interest in art, I can create things that are so far from AI because they are just internally human and internally based on vision, on seeing, on the joy of material, on the joy of color. And I think that is basically what brings the picture to life to me.
What else can be said? I think that students don't see the need in AI because this need comes with a need to multiply what you already did, like you find the artificial intelligence when yours is not enough and you don't want to pay somebody maybe to work for you if you can't or you don't want to. But anyway, the problems that are being solved by students now, here in these walls, they are mostly connected to practical aspects of producing something. Almost every student I asked, every artist I asked, told me that the sensation of the physical reality, like an opportunity to make something out of nothing, like to take material and to transform it by your will, is the most important to all of them. So the idea is not to enlarge something you already have, but to make the first thing, like the ideal, something you can start with. So maybe the need in AI and will come later.
Well, I am the person who really, I adore a craft-made things. I think that a small artist inside of me is very happy to work with real materials, for example. And I was very happy to produce this book. And there is a lot of digital books, but for me, it's very important to be able to feel, to touch, and we put a lot of effort in the, these pages are made on different kind of papers, also in transparent paper. But I have to say that during the process, because the texts are in Ukrainian, from Ukraine, and originally they are in Ukrainian language, and we didn't have such a big budget for translation. I used artificial intelligence, and then together with friends who speak good English, we did texts better. But still, I have to say that last months my life become much easier because of ChatGPT. I'm a bit scared as an analog artist that soon I will not be very important with my skills, because I found the things that ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is doing is really great, and something that would take an hours or days or months of my work can be done like this. Yeah, but I have a feeling that we just have to search for a middle, a gold middle, and that we need to, I don't know, I believe that there will be still a place for art and for people who love books, for example, who will spend still money for having the physical books in their library, who also enjoy to touch, to smell, to be touchy with something. Yeah, but I think in general it's absolutely positive, and we are moving, we are developing our life, and yeah.
Definitely not so important. The idea that AI will somehow take something out of these young artists, they are not thinking about it at all. It's not on the table. Like they feel that their insights in the art is totally after other ideas and other tools and other concepts, and the artificial intelligence plays almost no role here.
I'm Felix Giesen. I'm studying here at Art Academy Düsseldorf in the class of Ellen Gellinger, and I'm working with digital media and combining it with painting.
So that's exactly what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
How do you use artificial intelligence in your practice?
I'm generating a lot of images by using Stable Diffusion and training my own AI models. So yeah, I'm very interested in this digital world and the images that come out of the AI. For me, it's very important that I'm only using my own data. So the photos that are coming out are all based on my own data. So they're very shitty and kind of screwed and morphed. And I really love the language of this digital imagery, you know. And by that, for me, it's more like a tool than a conceptual thing, you know, because at the end, I'm not really interested because AI gets interesting if you have a lot of data and if it's like perfect, you know. But I'm more interested in the imperfection of this imperfection, what comes out when feeding own images, how it trains it, how it learns, you know, how it interprets those incoming data, and how I'm using it then at the end. You know, it's a whole process.
How long ago did you start?
How long ago did I start working with AI? 2 years ago, probably. Yeah.
So you're like really an early adopter.
Yeah, kind of. I was always interested in the digital world. At first, it was like more AR, so augmented reality and VR, and by that was really interested in the 3D media, and then suddenly there was this big hype in AI.
Yeah, and
So
it will become even bigger, I think.
it will become even bigger, you know.
That's
But
why I'm interested, like, is there a place for artificial intelligence in Düsseldorf Academy? Do you talk about it with, like, other students, with your professors?
not really. Like we have one new class from Ed Atkins. It's very digital. I think that could be a good point, but I'm not in the class. So Ed Atkins would be a good class probably because it's more like he's also interested in digital media. I don't think that he's so interested in AI, but I can't talk about that because I'm not in his class, you know. But in my class, it's not really like that.
Widespread.
Yeah, you know. Also, my professor, she's interested more in the idea of reproduction and reproducing these images, like feeding them in and getting new images out, is like another way of thinking about reproduction and how images are treated, you know?
Yeah.
So not the media itself, the technology itself is not really interesting, like in my class, in my conversation, let's say, because it's more like a tool, like, you know? Yeah.
Maybe you can just tell a couple of things about the artwork.
Yeah. So I trained my Stable Diffusion model with pictures from a fraternity, like a German fraternity. And the upper part is like based on real images, and I just extended it with Stable Diffusion. So the lower part and the sides were generated. And I, like for the legs and the genitals and stuff, I used
They look like quite strange.
Yeah, very strange.
With, fingers almost.
Yeah, like, I don't know, potatoes, whatever you want to call it, you know. And I asked my father and my uncle because I thought that they had the right proportion of legs, and I trained, I took many pictures of the legs of my dad and my uncle, and thereby trained the model to get a good image, because I tried it with my own legs and genitals, but it didn't work because the
Proportions
were different, and I wanted to have those proportions inside the painting.
Well, my name is Liam. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Cologne, and I study at Art Academy Düsseldorf.
Wonderful. What I really want to know is, do you use artificial intelligence in your work?
Until now, I don't. Sometimes we use it to help us in brainstorm processes.
So, do you treat it as a tool or as a collaborator?
More as a tool.
So, is it anyhow different from, I don't know, from a brush, from a camera, from anything else? Do you treat it like any different, or just like all those other tools?
I think it's different. It's really new. It's sometimes you use it when you're a little bit stuck to give you some ideas which you can develop even further. But it's different from using a brush because it's not like you can choose how your result will be.
But maybe, like, if your prompt is ideal, it will be the continuation of your mind.
Yes, that's true, but for now I just use it for to find titles for exhibitions to help me.
And do you discuss opportunities with other students, or maybe with professors at the academy? Like, is there a place for AI in the walls of academy?
I think it really differs because some people are really fast using AI. Their works are based on AI. I know a friend of mine who does huge canvases of images which were created by AI, and others really never touched it. And I think this is also the case when it comes to professors, that some professors might be really into it and some others don't, and also depends on the students whether they want to discuss it. So I don't think there's a really place for it, but it's really individual.
And can you tell a couple of words about your artwork?
This is my
What
artwork.
can we see here?
What we can see here is this artwork started when I wanted to use like the perspective of a video game in my photography. In this case, you can see a person who is having like a walk in the city, and I gave each picture like a under title, and they all begin with "choose to," which is kind of a reference to Trainspotting, and also sometimes these titles they give like information about feelings or thoughts, and sometimes it's just the action, which is kind of stoic and gives like the image of also the reference to the video game again, and
Like it's from the first-person shooter or third-person
yes,
view.
yes, and it gives also the idea of walking alone, and you have like all options, but you feel kind of melancholic because you feel like you can't really change much, but you can decide what to do. And what's also in this for me is like being socialized as a male person, like who's not allowed to show like weakness, who's not allowed to let anything show, to always seem tough in the city. And yeah, for me it's a reflection on masculinity, on being raised as a man in a Western society, and also about anxieties and insecurities. So yeah, it's this, and also the criticism on like neoliberal beliefs.
Why? How do you criticize them with this piece?
I think this is by the atmosphere I'm trying to create, and also you have the free decisions, and also I think this is a moment where just to look at real estate prices, choose to buy iced tea. You know, you look at these prices, house like 2 million,
Then I will. Yeah,
then I will buy
just
iced tea.
grab it.
So it's also a criticism, of those beliefs, and to have the feeling to be told by society you can do anything, but really you can't.
So out of all the artworks I've seen, of course, maybe I didn't see something because there are lots of artworks here and maybe I missed something, but I think that out of what I saw, the imagery that have been produced by artificial intelligence tools can be traced in work of 4 artists. And each of them use it creatively and find their own approach towards this new instrument, these new tools. And those artists are definitely Luan Xiao Chen, that artist in the very first room of the very first floor, and that's of course Lion Lutz, who made that wonderful group of boys. He used his own version of Stable Diffusion to get the imagery that he needed. Also, maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe that was Fee Welder, because I think that in the works that the one painting that I saw, somehow some traces of artificial intelligence produced imagery can be seen. And of course the anonymous artist who used conceptually, creatively the AI and like the whole concept of ability to produce imagery out of text, out of descriptions, and that were made not by himself even. So the artists who tried to get a portrait of the prophet. So yeah, these 4 I think are those whom I found here. So what have we learned today? We saw great young artists who described their relations with artificial intelligence. Some of them do use it, some of them don't use it, but in general we see that it's something that bothers them, that gives them something to think about. And maybe tomorrow we will continue our exploration of what's happening on a Rundgang in Düsseldorf Academy in 25-25.